Good morning, Bobcat Nation, and welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner. Today we have head coach of the men's soccer team, legendary veteran head coach in his 27th year, Mr. Gavin Donaldson. Good to have you, sir.
Morning, Jess.
And my old friend. We've been here a long time, haven't we?
Haven't kicked us out yet.
Nope, we're hanging in there. First off, I want to go back to yesterday. You were able to pull the win over Concord. You had a tough time with them down there, and it was tight here. Even though they're 2-7 in the league, they've been tight in a bunch of games. That really, even though it doesn't look like it on paper, it's a big win for you.
It was. I mean, every conference win at this point in the season is important as you're trying to look to make the tournament and also for placement within that tournament. And Concord is a team that is much better than their record. I said that before we played them the first time, and if anyone would take the time to look into their games and their results, their record does not tell the true story. It's a very good team that just has not had a little luck fall to their side at times, but very competitive. We hung on in the end, to be very honest. They threatened. They got a one goal, which made it 2-1, and then really we just did the best we could to keep from getting the second one.
Now, within the league, that moved you to 7-2 in the league now, and you're one game ahead of Notre Dame and Urbana. Going to Notre Dame this weekend, just the significance of that match.
Huge. For us and for Notre Dame, it's a game that I'm sure we're both looking at, saying it's a must-win for both teams. It has playoff implications as far as seeding goes within the tournament. So both teams, I'm sure, will be looking to be at their best for that match.
Well, I know you got to take them one at a time, but I know the Charleston game coming here is looming down the road. But if you can have some success at Notre Dame and this next week or two, you can put yourself in a position to be hosting all the way through to the semifinals.
Yeah, that's kind of a lofty goal. I wouldn't look at it that way, as you said, and I don't. It's one game at a time, because the result of the Notre Dame game can change how you look at the next game. I think more importantly, if you look ahead to the Charleston game, regardless of what we were record-wise or where we stood this year, that's always a big game. And because they're the #1 team in the country, not many schools get to face that, to have in your conference the top team over the last 3 or 4 years, or one of the top teams in the entire country. So it's always going to be a big game for us. And then we finish off with Wheeling, who has always been a huge rival. So the 3 conference games we have left are certainly going to test the mettle of this group to see if they're going to be a team that can get through this and look for loftier goals.
Well, getting onto the field here, offensively, your team has been really explosive at times. I know it's been a consistency thing, but just with how the team is working on the field, and what you need here the last 3 weeks to keep the goals coming.
I think that's been a strength of ours all year, is that we do have a number of people that can score goals, that do score goals, even though Juwan and Paul seem to have been the ones that have been the greater beneficiaries of our play. But we're a much more dynamic team going forward this year. No one put 3 goals in against Charleston this year,
yeah.
And I think that was a little bit of a surprise for them as well. But we need to continue that. We need to continue to have that confidence. And then I would say probably the most critical point is we need to quit giving up goals. And at times we've done that when we don't need to. So we've got to work on that. We've got to get some guys healthy. We haven't been fully healthy the last couple of weeks, and we're certainly a good squad, but not a deep enough squad to be able to just replace players and not have that affect your play a little bit.
Well, that was my next question, was defensively moving forward, that there have been times when you've given up a couple goals here and there and quick hits that really can't happen here down the road.
Right, it's not traditional of or it's not typical of a traditional Wesleyan team who normally has been very good defensively. We've struggled a bit with that this year, and it's just something that we've got to continue to work at. And often it's just about attitude, really. It's about putting in the extra effort as a team to defend with 10 men and not rely on just a couple of guys to carry you or save your butt in games.
Mm-hmm. Well, the league as a whole, like we talked about the parity, everybody fighting for that second spot right now, with Charleston being top ranked. Being able to make a big run at the end, is it still potential for an NCAA bid if we can finish strong?
Possibly. It's so competitive with only 4 bids in the region for the men's side, it's very difficult to make it. You're going to have 2 automatic qualifiers, which could be the very top teams, or it could be someone that sneaks in and wins their conference tournament. So, if that's the case, then you're going to find a lot of very good teams sitting on the outside looking in at the end. So you've just got to continue to play the games and not worry about that part of things. We're looking at what we can control, and that is each game. And for us, trying to do well in the conference, finish as high as we can in the conference, that's our main goal right now. We can't worry about what might come beyond that. And because, as you said, our conference in particular on the men's side is absolutely strong. When you have Urbana, Notre Dame, and Charleston who've made the NCAA tournament, all 3 at the same time in the past, it says a lot for that part of our conference, and we feel if we can do well against those teams, it sets us up for that possibility. But you've still got to earn each game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess if one of the, like I said, one of the nationally ranked teams doesn't win it, that takes us, unless you're the team winning the tournament.
It does, just like in the March Madness NCAA basketball tournament, when you have a tournament that's won by a team that is not one of your top 3 or 4 or 5 seeds, it's going to squeeze somebody out that's on the bubble, and so that quite well could happen this year with men having automatic bids for the first time.
I'm going to ask you a conditioning question here, because we faced this in cross country. Can you remember playing games this late in October, still playing games in the 80s?
No, I can remember a little snow and rain in September, early September once, but no, I think that they've been far and few between when you have weather like this, this long. Now, there have been times when you'll get a week like this in mid-October or the end of October, but no, it's typically a little bit cooler, and it's not a problem for us, though. One of our strengths, I think, is our conditioning and our fitness. We are a pretty fit team. We're not making mistakes or having trouble because of lack of fitness.
I want to ask you just a question on the sport, because in your position and your history, just with the men's national team not making the World Cup, just what that for the state of the game in our country with that happening.
Well, I don't think it hurts people that are true soccer supporters. I think true soccer supporters will still support the program. I think they still look at it as a building process, that we're still not there. We've got so many different factors that come into play. I think the bigger travesty in all of this is that those people that are part-time soccer lovers or the ones that are naysayers will just look at it and say, well, that's why we don't support it, and we're just not that good in it, because you're going to lose them. The diehards will always stay with it regardless. But I think what hurts in this country is that it takes away from those that are partial supporters and the naysayers, where, on the women's side, the women do it right, much more often than the men do. And so that's why you continue to always get the support on the women's side. Probably not enough support, at least financially, for the women. They've had more success, and it's a shame that they're not getting the greater share of pay, or at least equal pay, than the men.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I think that's a bigger issue.
Yeah, I know it was a sad day, and plus the way the match went down.
It was, but to put yourself in that position for the last game shows a sign of something deeper that's wrong with the team. You shouldn't be in a position in this country to rely on your very last qualifying game to make the tournament.
I'll tell you what, best of luck up there this weekend up in Ohio. I know it's a big weekend for both of us, but really wish you well.
We've got to get through Seton Hill first, and then we'll look forward to that one. But thanks.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Jesse.
Thanks a bunch.